Namaskar to Goa State Biodiversity Board and the people of Goa. First of all, I would like to thank Goa State Biodiversity Board for inviting me to speak on the occasion of the International Day for Biodiversity. Particularly, I would like to thank Dr. Pradeep, with whom I worked in the national level access and benefit sharing committees. His contribution has been immense in those committees. I really enjoyed working with him. Thank you very much, Dr. Pradeep, for inviting me. Historically, India has been known for its biodiversity and its biowealth. This is one of the reasons why the Westerners wanted to visit India and they wanted to capture India for the natural wealth we had. Goa is one of the richest states in terms of biodiversity and traditional knowledge. The presence of medicinal plants and other plants, flora and fauna in the state is really enormous. The State Biodiversity Board is taking all measures to protect it and conserve biodiversity as well as the associated knowledge. The people of Goa, I know that they have a repository of the traditional knowledge in them. This has been transferred to different generations, and that helps us a lot in improving our health, protecting our the people. We are discussing this International Day of Biodiversity in times of a coronavirus and the lockdown period globally. You can observe one thing that even though India is affected by coronavirus, the damage caused to India, compared to other countries is less. The sole reason is the biological diversity and the traditional knowledge we have. We Indians have been, protecting our health and immunity with the help of our traditional, practices and traditional knowledge. This is in our blood, and that is one reason that we are all protected in many ways. Each one of us know how to protect our health and improve our immunity. So in this context, we need to take this day as an opportunity to think about our rich culture, rich biodiversity, and our traditional knowledge systems that we have. And with the help of these knowledge systems, we have developed many medicinal systems also, Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, like that. We have different, the medical systems, including homeopathy, in addition to the allopathic medical systems. All medical systems, undoubtedly depend on the natural herbs, the biological materials for preparation of medicines. It's not only the medical sector, cosmetic sectors, health sector, food sector, industrial sector. So most of the activity, the sectors, they depend on the natural resources for their production. So in this context also, we need to think how important the biodiversity. And all these products are possible with the help of people's knowledge. So we need to protect both biodiversity and the traditional knowledge of the people. So that becomes very important. This year marks the 28th year of the adoption of a Convention on Biological Diversity. The Convention on Biological Diversity was adopted in the year 1992. This convention, at the international level, created a kind of legal commitment for all the states to protect and conserve biological diversity, to sustainably use the biological resources, and to protect the traditional knowledge of the people. It also stated that we need to provide fair and equitable benefit sharing for the use of biological resources and traditional knowledge. This has been implemented by all the countries, almost all the countries in the world. It's a very successful convention. This convention also stated various measures to protect the biodiversity through in situ and ex situ measures. In order to give effect to the provisions of this convention relating to access and benefit sharing, in the year 2010, the global community has adopted the Nagoya Protocol on access and benefit sharing for the utilization of biological resources and traditional knowledge. And this year marks the 10th year of the Nagoya Protocol. And the Nagoya Protocol has given a clear-cut procedures and the legal measures to be taken by all the states who are the state parties to the Nagoya Protocol, so that the biodiversity conservation and traditional knowledge conservation happens at every state. It also provides measures for the approval systems for utilization of the biological resources and traditional knowledge for the purpose of access, for carrying out a research or any other commercial utilization. In India, we have enacted the Biological Diversity Act 2002. This law is the major law which implements the three objectives of the Convention on Biological Diversity, namely the conservation of biological diversity, sustainable use of biological resources, and fair and equitable sharing of benefits arising out of the utilization of bioresources as well as traditional knowledge. This Biological Diversity Act creates a model, a three-tier model, where at the national level, we have a National Biodiversity Authority, and at the state level, we have state biodiversity boards, and at the local level, we have biodiversity management committees. So anyone who wants to access biological resources for any purposes, whether it is for research purpose, or whether it's for commercial utilization or intellectual property protection, they have to get some kind of approval from the authorities. So under this law, a non-Indian entity, a foreigner or a foreign company or an Indian company having a foreign participation, if they want to access biological resource for research or commercial purposes or for intellectual property, they have to get prior approval from the National Biodiversity Authority. If an Indian or an Indian company or Indian education institution like universities, agriculture universities or some other universities, if they want to access any biological resources for research purpose, they need not get any permission. But if they want to, access biological resources for the purpose of commercial utilization or intellectual property protection, they have to get approval. For commercial utilization, they have to get approval from the state biodiversity boards. If they want to go for intellectual property protection, they have to get approval from the National Biodiversity Authority. This is the legislative framework created. Goa Biodiversity Board has been doing a great work in implementing the Biodiversity Act. It is taking all measures to protect and conserve biological diversity, and also with the help of the biodiversity management committees, the State Biodiversity Board is taking all measures to document people's biodiversity registers, where the biological diversity available within the jurisdiction of the biodiversity management committees are being documented, including the associated knowledge available. The Government of India, as you know, is committed to, implement this act in a very effective manner. And recently, a high-level committee has been constituted to look at the ways in which we can strengthen the implementation of the Biodiversity Act, the rules and the regulations. The committee is also given a mandate to suggest measures for amendment to the Biodiversity Act rules as well as the ABS regulations. So I am fortunate to be in the committee as a member. And we are looking at all the possible, measures to strengthen the provisions of the law so that the, the people's participation in the biodiversity management committees and how they can, document the biological, diversity available there, biological resources available, within the jurisdiction under the associated knowledge can be documented properly, and how the state biodiversity boards can, empower themselves in implementing the law in a better manner, and how the National Biodiversity Authority can facilitate all the activities, at the national level with the help of the central government as well as the state governments. The efforts are being taken. So I hope that, very soon we will make, very, useful, changes in the law that will help the state biodiversity boards as well as the biodiversity management committees at the state level to, function very effectively. The participation and involvement of a local people is very, very important in biodiversity conservation. We need to involve all stakeholders, the schools, the school children, the college, students, the professors, the lawyers, industry, the medical professionals. So everyone has to come together to protect this biodiversity conservation. So it's a noble task, to protect biodiversity conservation. Then only, we'll be having a healthy life. I need not tell you that the biodiversity is the base and source of our lives, whether it is our food, whether it is our medicine, whether it is our even including the clothes we get through cotton. It's nothing but nature, the biological component. Everything comes from nature. So this year's the message, the theme of the International Biodiversity Day, our solutions are in nature. It's very fitting to think how the nature contributes in many ways, particularly the biodiversity, how it contributes and enriches our lives in many ways. I would like to give you some other, ideas how we can involve the industries. I tell you that, we have been involving school children, we have been involving other stakeholders in biodiversity conservation, in creating awareness. That's going on. And it is high time that, we need to involve the industry partners, because, biodiversity is also the base for the business. And they really get, benefits from the biodiversity if it is conserved and protected. And there are many initiatives already by the corporate sector to involve in protecting biodiversity. I think we should think about that. I'll give you one or two examples so that, we can, how we can involve the industry partners in protecting conservation. That will also help us a lot. In 2013, there was a major, change, made in the company law where the corporate social responsibility has been, made a mandatory provision. So any company which is, having a net worth of, more than 500 crore, or a turnover of more than 1,000 crores, or a net profit of, 5 crores in a year or more, 5 crore or more, should mandatorily contribute not, less than 2% of the profit earned by the company for corporate social responsibility. There are many activities they can do. It is only to giving back to the society what they have earned. So at least 2% can be shelled out for, for the benefit of the society. So many corporates are doing it because it is mandatory. They are really doing human service to the country. Some industries are spending on education development. Some companies are spending on the rural development. Some are, donating the money for the road development or infrastructure development of the community. So like that, there are many activities getting, or tree plantation like that. They are doing it. And there are many ways, it can be organized well. At the state level, I see that, there are many states, they have taken initiatives to involve them in biodiversity conservation. And there are many companies, they have come forward to do that. I will give you certain examples if you want. So for example, the Tata Chemicals Limited has involved itself in conservation of whale shark in Gujarat, and also in saving Asian lion in Gir Forest, Gujarat. And this is a very successful project in Gujarat right now. And the TCS and the Tata Steel got involved in turtle conservation project. There are many projects like that. Tata Housing is involved in the endangered species conservation. In collaboration with the WWF, they are implementing this project. Especially, they are conserving Great Indian Bustard in Rajasthan, red panda in Arunachal Pradesh, and one-horn rhino in Assam. So they are spending such money, that is shelled out for the corporate social responsibility. They're diverting some amount of money for the purpose of biodiversity conservation. It is not only Tata company. The Muthoot, group has, involved in the elephant protection and prevention of human-elephant conflict in different states such as Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, and Kerala, where they are, contributing in developing the protecting the elephant corridors and preventing human-elephant conflict in these states. Sony India Limited, for example, has involved in protecting red panda and snow leopard in Arunachal Pradesh. And this is for conservation purposes. ONGC is involved in eastern swamp deer protection, a project which is carried out in Assam. Godrej Marine Ecology Center in Mumbai is focusing on protecting mangrove ecosystems. Aircel is involved in Save Tigers project. We can go on naming such projects, but the message is the companies, the corporates are ready to shoulder the responsibility of protecting conservation. That's a very good trend. State biodiversity boards can make use of this as an opportunity to engage with them and involve them in many of your activities. Maybe it is possible that in Goa there are many tourism based industries and other industries, and we can involve them in conservation projects. They'll be very happy to do that. So I think the state, the Goa State Biodiversity Board may also think about it. They must be definitely doing it, on these measures. So finally, I'd like to tell one facts about the forests and the biodiversity. Sometime back, the Indian Institute of Forest Management has carried out a survey and came out with what is the value or the worth of the forests in the country. They identified the net worth of India's forests are estimated about $1.7 trillion value, equivalent to 115 trillion Indian rupees. It's not a small amount, and obviously we cannot value the real value of a tree. This is only a hypothetical or a projected amount. What I am saying is that we are always materialistic and we are looking at the things in terms of GDP or growth. We are only thinking about that. Even if you think about that, still the biodiversity and the forest value is not insignificant. That's why I would like to say that its worth is more. So nowadays the world is moving towards a green development with the help of green technologies, with the usage of the green resources. And the value of the forest, just now we have seen, is nothing but the value of biological diversity. So I think that the more we conserve, the more we protect, the more we create wealth generation, and it will end up in prosperity of each one of us. So health is very important, and that comes from nature. Health is wealth. So a healthy India cannot be created with unhealthy people. If we want to make our people healthy, it is only through the biodiversity and the healthy products. So we need to also develop the biodiversity related industry. So that will help sustainable use of the resources so that the products also help the people in developing their livelihoods, and people get lots of choices in getting the products. At the same time, the returns contribute to the biodiversity conservation. So we need to think about these aspects also. So for me, biodiversity means health and happiness. Health, if we want to protect, it comes from nature. We need to concentrate more on the nature and the biodiversity. So with this, I would like to thank the Goa State Biodiversity Board for inviting me to share these views. So this is the time that we need to think how we all can join together in protecting and conserving the biological diversity, and the people who are working for it, the people, the local communities, the tribal communities, the indigenous people, and all stakeholders who are passionate about protecting the nature should be recognized, rewarded, and their knowledge has to be documented for this generation as well as for the future generations. That is the only way that we can have a happy and healthy life. Thank you very much.